Hi everyone, Sandy here. Welcome to my YouTube channel and to the tutorial for this mini album that I designed for Country Craft Creations using Echo Park's Blast Off paper collection. I show you how to make this album base, and I also show you in the end how to make these little booklets where you can add one to your album cover or have them for little gifts or like cards or brag books. So stay tuned and the tutorial will start shortly. Let's go over the supplies right quick for this little blast off album. I'm using the contents that I received from my design team package haul from Country Craft Creations. You can check out that video in a separate video. I'll link it down below to see more details of these products. But what I have here, I've opened up and put in my tray, is the ephemera pack, which is 34 die cut pieces. Most of them are in this one. And then the frames and tags I put in these two trays. There's also 34 die cut pieces in that. So we have that in the, I got it in my design team haul that you can order from Country Craft Creations. I have the 7/8 inch wide red and white striped gross grain ribbon. I have 2 yards of that, 2 yards of the goldenrod seam binding, and 2 yards of the navy blue jute twine. So I won't be using that until I'm ready to decorate, but I want you to see what I am using. This did not come in my design team package. I do order this extra on my own, and I use the affiliate credits that I earned when you place an order using my affiliate credits. So I appreciate that very much. It helps me to get more glue so I can do these projects, and my artisan cardstock, which I order on my own as well. Now in the package that I got, I have 2 sheets of each pattern paper in the Blast Off by Echo Park, which includes your journaling cards. And I also got, of course, the sticker sheet. You're going to want that. And I got the 2 sheets of each of the colored solids that match the Blast Off solids. Got those. And then I got 2 sheets of the summer. It's also by Echo Park, the summer checkerboard, which the colors are great for this. I got the this orange one, the blue, and the red. So that's the pattern papers I'll be using. I also got lightweight chipboard, which you can use either the lightweight or the heavy in your album. I got 2 of the 12 by 12, and then I got purchased on my own a pack of the red artisan cardstock, and I'll try to keep track of how much of that I use in this project. So we are ready to get started on creating our album. To create our album cover, the base of the album for the Blast Off album, we're going to use heavyweight chipboard, and I'm going to be using the red artisan cardstock. Also need a piece of the score tape sheet, 8.5 by 11, which I've already cut mine, and I use 4 sheets of the cardstock. You could use another color of cardstock if you wanted to, like the white or maybe black, just depending on what color base you want to use with the paper collection. So let me go over all the pieces that I've cut, and then I'll show you how to put it together. Typically, I would refer you to my lay flat album cover video, but this one's going to have more than just 2 main cover pieces. It's going to be like a trifold type cover, so I will go ahead and show you how to make it in this one. So for our chipboard, the heavyweight chipboard, you need 1 for the back, and I labeled it because I want to make sure I don't get it mixed up. The back side needs to be a little bit wider, so I cut it at 8 tall by 4 1/4 wide. So you need 1 of those. You need 2 for the side fold over and the front that are 4 by 8, 2 4x8s. And then for the spine, we need 2 that are 2 inches by 8. I got these 4 pieces out of 1 sheet of 12 by 12 heavyweight chipboard, and then I used the scrap that I had. If you don't have a scrap, then you're going to have to cut into a second one. Maybe you have an 8.5 by 11 instead of a 12 by 12. But that is the chipboard pieces. Then for the cardstock, to wrap it, you need 1 that is 6 1/4 by 10, 2 that are 6 by 10, 2 that are got them out of order, 5 by 8 and one 6 by 10, and then a matching 6 by 10 in the score tape sheet. So let's get busy wrapping this. Let me grab my scoreboard so I can use my album spacers, and we'll make our cover. So we're going to do the one that's labeled back first. So that would be the one that is 4 1/4 by 8, and your cardstock that's 6 1/4 by 10. So you put your cardstock in, and then you take your 1-inch spacer, which I use the L ones from Country Craft Creations, and they've got glue all over them, but it's okay. Put that in to the corner here, and then I'm going to put glue. Now you can use score tape sheets or strips of score tape if you want to. I'm just going to go ahead and use glue on mine. It won't be as smooth as using the score tape sheets, but I am going to be doing layering probably on my project, on my album cover, and so that'll be fine. So I'm putting it this way with my label back here so that I can still see it, so that when I put the album cover together, I'll know which is which. So I'm going to burnish this really well on the back. Try to smooth out that glue as best I can, and then set it aside and let it dry. Now we do the other two cover pieces, which is your 6 by 10, the same 1-inch spacers, and the chipboard piece. So essentially with a tri-fold album like this, you have 3 covers and 2 spines instead of the traditional 2 covers and 1 spine. Put together the same, but I did want to show you how to do that. So go ahead and wrap these. Let that dry. And the other one. The spacers makes it real easy. I will try to remember to link those down below for you if you don't have them. They also come in the 12-inch length, but I do like these because they're attached together and fit in the corner, so it just makes it easier. Whichever you prefer works fine. Then for the spine piece, we need the 2 pieces that are 5 by 8, and of course your chipboard that is 2 by 8. And we cut it. Oh no, I cut these wrong. I had it down right and I changed it. So let's back it up and I'll be right back. I'll cut the correct size. Okay, so sometimes we cut things wrong. I had enough paper of the cutoffs from the 4 original sheets that I didn't have to cut any extras, so I just have the others to use on something else. So you need 2, and it will be correct on the cutting guide that you can copy, click on the link down in my description and go and print it out. But you need 2 that are 5 by 10. So put that in, and I'll show you why it's 5 by 10. So this time we use our 1.5 inch wide by 1 inch at the top spacer, because we want a 1 inch at the top and the bottom, and we want 1.5 on each side. So that's why I had to cut it the full 10. I don't know why I cut it wrong when I had it wrote down right. But anyway, it's best to catch it quickly, and even though I cut it out wrong and I have the paper cut wrong, I still can use it probably for a tag or a pocket or something. So anyway, we do both of these the same. Let that dry. The last spine piece, which is again 1 inch at the top, 1.5 on the side. Glue that down. Now you may be wondering, if I'm using glue, why do I have score tape cut? Score tape sheet. That's because I want it smooth for the inside of the album cover where the support piece goes, and you'll see that in a minute. Okay, so we'll let that dry, And right now, while they're drying, I'm going to take this last piece. This one is a 6x8, which is correct, and a 6x8 score tape sheet. Let me turn this around and set these guys aside so I can see it a little better. Peel off part of this. I cut it to fit. At least I try to cut it to fit. And I'm going to fit this in. Make sure before I'm going to turn it this other way. Because I'm right-handed. I don't know why I'm going the wrong way. Okay. Put it down in the corner. Butt it up. Like that. Attach that piece down and then peel the rest of it off. And it should be pretty close if you had them cut right. See, it's off just a little bit right there. And I'm just going to trim that off. I don't want that overhang of sticky on this piece. There we go. A little bit could be okay, but not that much. All right. So now we have that. I'm going to burnish this down so the backing comes off easier. And we're ready to start wrapping the album cover. So I'm going to put this aside for now, and we'll bring all the pieces back. So this is the back one. Now I'm not going to show you wrapping all the cover pieces. I'll do a couple of them off camera to save us some time, but I am showing you this one. So all three of these will be wrapped the same, these three. And so I like to stand it up, or you can take a bone folder or your scoring tool and like score on it like this along the edge of the chipboard. And then stand it up. This is to make the paper fold better for you. Nice and neatly. And then I take my scissors and I cut, leaving about 1/8 of an inch at an angle, 1/8 of an inch of paper from the tip of the chipboard out to that angle cut. If you want to cut the squares out, if that's the method you use, that's fine, whichever one works for you. I like the angle, so that's my preference. And then we're going to take this. Let me grab the bulk folder, the longer one, and I'm going to kind of run that up there like that. If you want to use score tape to attach these down, you can. I'm going to use glue. I'm using the art glitter glue. I like to do the long sides first, so I put a line of glue right along the chipboard onto the cardstock, and then glue on the rest of the wing of the cardstock. Bring it over and burnish it. I start from the center usually and work my way out. And so you do have to burnish it if you're using that glue to grab it down. Sometimes I take a small piece of score tape if it's a really long album cover and I want a little help holding it down, but this is working okay. And then once I do that, I do kind of run my bone folder across that edge, turn it around, and do the other side the same way. Okay, so we have those two sides. Now then, when you look at this, you're going to see a little bit of that paper sticking over. And if you fold it without burnishing it in, it's going to look kind of ugly there. So if you're doing this corner method, you need to burnish that in with your bone folder, kind of press it in up against that chipboard so that it is tucked in there on that end. Some will have more based on how you cut it than the others. But then when you fold it, it's going to flatten in there and look nice. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue these as well. The other end, and that is the cover, the back cover wrapped. And I'll go ahead, like I said, and do the two others off camera, and then I will come back and show you how to do one of the spine pieces, how to wrap it. Okay, so there's the back cover. I'm going to lay it aside, and I'll work on the other two. Okay, so I have all three covers wrapped. The one that's the back, which is the widest one, and the two on the sides are the front cover and the inner cover. And then I have one of my spines wrapped and ready to go. I'll show you how to do that. So after you've glued this on here, I like to take my bone folder or burnishing tool and just score along the edges of the chipboard, just like we did on the cover. Kind of start getting that paper ready to fold. Now, wrapping on your spine is just the top and the bottom, not the sides. Those are going to be your attachment wings. So I stand this up and get a fold here on both ends. That's the only place that we're going to wrap. I do mine just a little bit different than other people because this is what works for me. You're going to do what works for you. Some people cut out the rectangle square and just wrap the ends. Some cut out part of it and wrap that part, but I wrap the whole thing and then do some trimming, and I'll show you. So I put glue along the chipboard right here onto the cardstock, not on the chipboard, but along the chipboard, and a little bit here on the side where that wrap's going to come down, and then glue on this entire piece here that folds over. Then fold it over and start burnishing. Now you're going to want to really burnish where the cardstock attaches to the cardstock. I'm going to flatten it out as much as possible. And then I burnish right up against that chipboard to make that really have a groove in there. So you want all this attached down and these as flat as possible out here. Burnish in there, and then you do the other end the same way. So glue right here, a little bit on the edges of the chipboard. The whole piece is going to have glue. Fold it over and really burnish. I want that right up against that chipboard. Get that nice groove in there. Probably on camera you can't tell how hard I am actually pressing in there to get that in without tearing it. You don't want to tear it, of course. And you want to make sure it sticks down. Got a good fold here and here. And then I do burnish the ends. Now then, once you have your piece like that, I'm going to take our scissors and I'm going to put the blade of the scissor up against the chipboard right here on the end and just cut off a small sliver. This is so it doesn't stick out over the cover when we're attaching it. It's really hard to tell which one I've already cut. This one needs burnished a little more in the groove. So from where the groove is, where that chipboard is, just add an angle, flip it over, and do the other side. Now then, I'm going to get it ready to attach together. So I turn it here on the finished side, and I take my bone folder, and where I can feel the chipboard, I just run my bone folder back and forth along that chipboard to get that kind of a groove. So I can see it there. Then I also fold it over and burnish through all of it. both sides. This is where your cover is going to bend, and this method will prevent it from cracking. So then I turn it back on itself, because that's going to be bending like that. Turn it back and burnish it again quite a bit, back and forth, to get that groove, that nice finished groove right up against that chipboard. And that's what it looks like. It's ready for the cover. Okay, so I have everything ready to go to put this together. So here is the back piece. It's important that we have the a little bit wider. It's 4 1/4 instead of 4. And our 2 spines. Now I'm going to fold this down on this side, because we want this to attach the wrong side of the back to the right side of this. So this is the back side of the spine. We're going to fold it down. I pick it up, and then I'm going to take my glue. I like to use glue, and I'm going to run a line of glue about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch from the fold, and then glue on all of the rest of it. This is our attachment hinge. So I'm putting glue all over this. But you see there on the top edge where that fold is, I stayed away from it. Now the back side of this is going to go right up against that fold and lined up. Some people like to use their bone folder, not their bone folder, their scoreboard to line these up, and you can do that. I just kind of press them together and line them up. Make sure they're lined up, not too far in, and even on the ends. Okay, like that. And you want to press it in and burnish. So that is one spine on the back. So make sure it's really burnished on there, the inside and the outside. Okay, so that's like that. Now, leave this one for the other side. We're going to take the other hinge of the spine. We're going to fold down. Again, we put our glue away from the fold, and then glue all over the rest of it. I do it this way because I don't like the glue oozing into the fold of the spine. But you do want it attached good. So here's your back. So you have one attached to this side. So now this inside unfinished side is going to flip and attach to this side. Just like this. Same thing. Line it up. The folds in the ends. That. Burnish it. I'm going to open it up carefully so I can burnish here on the inside. So we have our back, and we have our 2 side hinges like this, okay? So now we're going to attach one of these to each of the spine. So we fold the spine, the leftover wing down, so you see the finished side here. Again, the glue just goes about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch from the fold, and then glue all over the wing. Take the back side of one of your cover pieces and line it up end to end and along the fold. Just like that. Burnish it. Carefully open it up and burnish the wing. Make sure it dries. Good. So there's that. Now we're ready for the other side. So fold this down where you've got your unfinished here. Fold it down. Glue, again, away from the fold. And then all over the rest of the wing. The last cover piece, the back side of it, goes to the glue. Line it up end to end. Burnish it. Okay, and we got it like that. We're going to leave it laying flat like this. We're going to let it dry, and then when I come back, we will attach our support piece right here in this. I think I cut that wrong. We will attach support pieces where we need them. So I think I need an extra one, and we'll do that when we come back. We'll get that all straightened out. Okay, so I've cut another 6x8 in the cardstock and a matching 6x8 score tape sheet and have it attached. So you need 2 of these. So I was incorrect. I don't know why. I just was. So what we do is we cut them a 1/2 inch wider on each side of these wings. So see here, this is going to sit a 1/2 inch on each side of the wings down to the height of this album. The same here. So that almost covers this whole spine section here, but that's fine. This is our support pieces, so you do need these, and I do use score tape sheets so that there's not any buckling when the cover is closed up and opened back and forth. So I'll just go ahead and peel this off. Now, if you have any where you didn't get it on perfectly straight, like where it's sticking out, I just take my fingers and kind of fold it back. It is going to be covered by patterned paper during the finishing of the album, but for now, so it's not sticky, I'm going to fold it back, or you can use a tool that rubs it off. So I'm going to position this so it's about 1/2 inch beyond each wing so that it's not stacked on top. It's got kind of tapers off, and line it up here on the bottom as close as I can without going off, dropping it down, and it should stay within that section. We're going to burnish that really well. I'm going to go ahead and put this one on over here on this other side as well. And then we're going to be burnishing our folds of our spine area. So again, line it up so it's about 1/2 inch off of the wings, and then line it up on the bottom here and drop it down. Okay, now then, burnish these, make sure they're stuck down. Then I'm going to, where I can see where that fold is, I'm just going to take the rounded part of my bone folder and burnish in there. Get that fold, and I can see it here. So we want to fold it up like that, both sides. Now I didn't fold this down over here, my adhesive, so I'm going to use a eraser thing that I have so I can see where my fold line is, and I burnish it. As I'm bringing it up, make sure you use that rounded part of your bone folder. You don't want to poke through your paper. So here. Burnish it really well. Kind of give it that smoothness in there where it folds. Okay, so it folds like that, and then like that. So it's offset a little bit, and that's the way I want it here on the side. And we will use magnets to hold it all together to make our little cover. So I'm going to grab some magnets next, and we'll get that done. And then I'm going to move on to making my pages and get this all ready to go, the base of the album. Of course, you can finish it in any paper you want, but I will be using Echo Park's Blast Off. Okay, so there. Okay, so we just need the magnets now. Okay, so I have 4 of the little tonic magnets, and I'm going to start off with using just 2 sets and see how I like that, because I probably will have a ribbon tie on the front as well. So I'm going to open this up, and here on the, which would be the left front cover, because that's the one that's going to wrap and leave a spot here open on the side, I'm going to put 2 magnets. Now I like to use glue on them. And I'm going to come in about 3/4 of an inch in, at about an inch from the bottom. Same over here. And I'll glue a magnet on each spot here, right there. And I'm going to tape those. I'm going to use score tape because I used up all of my gift wrap tape. I need to pick up some more at the store. This will work fine. Score tape will work. So I'll put that there and that one there. That secures it until I get my patterned paper on there. Okay, now take your little magnets, whoops, and attach them to the ones you just stuck down, just like that. And then we put glue on these, just on the center, to mark our location. So line this up, kind of square it up best I can here. Eyeball it, line it up, press it so I can see. Make sure it's kind of square, straight. And I'm going to either let it dry or I'm going to lift up, and I can see that one stuck where it belonged. I can see where my magnet belonged, so I'm going to put some more glue on there and stick it down. Take some tape, score tape, and attach these down. Okay, so now these are in place, and it's ready for when we add our patterned paper. So we close that up and give it another look. Make sure that it is squared up the way I want it. Do I need it in further? No. Yeah, I think that looks good. Okay, and that's even there. So now we're ready to start on our base pages. For this album, we're going to make 3 base pages with L hinges. So you need 3 sheets of 12 by 12 cardstock and cut out 3 pieces that are 8 inches wide by 7.5 tall. And we're going to score the 8-inch side on all 3 of them at a 1/2 inch, which is the hinge, and at 4 1/4 to make us a little flap. So do that on all 3. Put your 8-inch in at the top, score at a 1/2 inch and 4 1/4. Half inch. Make sure it is on the 8-inch side and at 4 1/4. Okay, so now we're ready to fold these. So just fold your 1/2 inch hinge and burnish it. And then we're going to fold this one in. That makes a flap already attached to these little pages. Fold your 1/2 inch and the 4 1/4, and that makes the flap. Just like that. Then we're going to build up on these different flaps and pockets. So when these go into the book, this is what's going to glue in, is the 1/2 inch hinge. So I think I'm going to build up the pockets and flaps on them, but the actual pages are not going to go into the book until we add some patterned paper, perhaps. I'm going to look at it and see. I'll decide on that. So I'm going to build up the, make some flaps and pockets next. So just take your pages, fold them up, and set them aside for now. So the pages are already made, and the pockets and flaps that go on them are pretty quick and easy to do. All of these are cut from the leftover scraps from cutting the pages and from cutting the cardstock that we wrapped the album cover with. So you don't need to cut up any extra page sheets of cardstock. You should have plenty of scraps that will cut these. They're not really big. So let's go over them real quick. Go over them as I score them. So we need a pocket for each base page. So we have 3 base pages, so that means we have 3 pockets. And these are 4 3/4 by 4, and we're going to score on all 3 sides. Put the long at the top, score at a 1/2. Turn, score the long side at a 1/2. Turn and score the short side again at a 1/2. So we're scoring 2 short sides, making 2 scores on our 4 3/4 inch side and 1 score on the 4 inch side. And then you make an angle cut where the lines intersect like that, and then fold up your pockets. On all 3 sides. And then if you want, you can leave them straight, or if you want a notch, I'm using the notch punch. So I'm just going to center that and punch. You can also use your envelope punch board, or you can use a circle punch to get your little notches. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other 2 off camera, and then I'll be back to show you the rest of the flaps for the 3 pages. So I have my 3 pockets done, and now we're ready to move on to flaps for page 1. So the first flaps, we're going to cut 2 that are 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, and we score only one side at a 1/2 inch on each of these. They're the same, they're squares, so just any side at a 1/2 inch, just one score line. Then go ahead and fold and burnish that. I'm going to go ahead and put my little tag on there so I'll know where it goes. So the other flaps for page 1, you need 2 that are 4 1/2 by 3 3/4, and you're going to score your 4 1/2 inch side at a 1/2 inch on both. 4 1/2 inch at the top, score at a 1/2 inch. Fold and burnish. And that is also for page 1. So each page has different little flaps. Pretty much page 2 has 4 flaps that are all cut 3 3/4 by 3 1/2. And we're going to score the 3 3/4 side at a 1/2 inch. On all 4. The 3 3/4 in, score at a 1/2 inch. And then fold and burnish the score lines. And this is all we need for page 2, along with the pocket, of course. Each page has a pocket. All right, so page 2. For page 3, we need 2 long flaps. These are cut at 3 3/4 wide by 7 1/2 tall. We're going to score the 7 1/2 inch side at a 1/2 inch on each one. Fold and burnish those. And then the last thing we do for page 3 is little closure flaps, because we're going to have waterfalls that are made out of the patterned paper. So we need one that is 7 1/4 by 1 1/2. We're going to score the 7 1/4 side at a 1/2 inch. And we need one that is 1 1/2 by 5 3/4, and we score the 5 3/4 side at a 1/2 inch. Okay, go ahead and fold and burnish those. And then we can put the scoreboard away while we assemble everything onto our base pages. We're going to assemble page 1 first. So the first thing we're going to do is take a pocket. Make sure your page, your hinge, your 1/2 inch hinge to your left. That means your little fold here is on the right. So we have a flap here. So for our first pocket, we're going to put it here on the front of our flap. Now, when I cut my pockets, the size, and I'm going to put that on the cutting guide so that you'll know ahead of time. I didn't tell you earlier, it was 4 3/4, but I actually cut it down to just a hair under 4 3/4. I made them a little bit smaller so that they would fit here on this pocket, on this flap. So we're just going to attach the bottom hinge for now, because we want to be able to add our patterned paper later easily. So I don't attach the sides until later. So this I'm going to attach to the very bottom, right along the edge between the outer edge and this fold here. So right like that. So burnish it, open it up and burnish in here. So these we're not going to attach down yet, but there's our pocket on the front. Then we're going to take our first set of flaps, the 4 1/2 by 3 3/4, and we scored the 4 1/2 on the half, at a 1/2 inch. So we're going to open this up, and these, actually I want to go ahead, let's go ahead and flip it so that the hinge is to the back. You're going to flip so that your hinge is to the back. These are going to attach here. Now you're going to need to dry fit and make sure that they fit on the page without going over the hinge or the outer edge of your fold. So put glue on my 1/2 inch. If they need trim, just trim a hair off of them before you glue them in. So I think mine is going to be okay. So I'm going to line it up here at the top, right along that score line, right along this edge. One here at the top, and then one lined up at the bottom like this, and they do slightly overlap. So put glue on your hinge. Make sure they line up, and down here at the bottom. So that is on the back side of this. So we have our pocket on the front, hinge, the 1/2 inch hinge to the left. We have your pocket on your front. If you flip it over, you have these flaps on the back. Now we're going to open this up, and we're going to put the pocket, the flaps, the shorter, smaller flaps the 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 that was scored on one side. They go like this, and there is a gap between them. And then we'll make a closure piece when we do our patterned paper and decorating. So the 1/2 inch here, and again, I didn't on mine, but double check that it fits within the score line and the outer edge of your book, and trim if necessary. I'm going to flip this around so I can see it easier. Glue on the 1/2 inch. There. Let's see, it could have been trimmed just a tiny bit. I'm just going to do it with my scissor a little bit. So you want to dry fit, and make sure you do that maybe with your trimmer before you actually glue it down. That should work fine. Let's see here, if it's need a little trim right there. Okay. So that is page 1. So this folds in. Have the pocket on the front. We have our page here. This one I am going to trim with my trimmer. I think it just doesn't look quite right. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. Okay, so next time I will trim it, my next ones, before I attach it down. I'll leave my trimmer sitting here, and I'm just going to burnish this so it fits a little bit better. Flaps on the inside, pocket, and flaps on the outside here. Okay, so that's page 1. So let's work on the next one, page 2. Again, we're going to put the hinge to the left, fold over here. Page 2 flaps. We have 4 of them we're going to put. Let's do the pocket first. So the pocket is going to go on the inside. So open this up, and we're going to put the pocket here. Now remember, I had already sized my pocket a little smaller. So we're going to just put the glue on just the bottom hinge and attach it here on the inside flap. Nice and straight on the bottom, and the side ones will be attached once the pattern paper is added in. Make sure it burnishes in. Okay, now then we turn it this way. We're here on the front. These are going to attach like one here and one here. These do not need to be resized because they were cut smaller anyway. So glue on this 1/2 inch here, and it attaches to the outer flap, front flap on the left side. Line it up on the bottom, right there. And then one opens to the other way, so the fold goes to the right side. Along the fold, along the top, burnish that. Okay, so we have it like that. Just make sure it's even. I'm going to need to lift it up a little bit and move it. There we go. Didn't have it quite even enough. Now we have the hinge here. This is our flap that opens with the pocket inside. We turn it completely over so the hinge is on the right. And this time this one's going to attach up to the top on the left side. here at the top correct. Okay, burnish. This one lines up along the fold here of the hinge. Like that. And burnish. And that is page 2. So I'm going to write that on their front. Page 2. Let me grab the other one. I didn't write on it. Page 1. Okay, page 1 and page 2 are ready. We'll take another page 3 here. And we'll put the pocket on first. So with page 3, the pocket goes on the inside again. We have the hinge here, flap here, except it goes on this side. And again, it's already was cut down to fit. A little bit better, a little smaller. So the glue just goes on the 1/2 inch bottom tab. And again, the side ones will be attached once we add in our patterned paper. So make sure you get it straight and burnished. So that's the inside. There's your attachment hinge. There's the flap here. Okay, so now we're ready for these long hinges. They're going to go on this front side, one at the top and one at the bottom. Now what I'm going to do is see if they need trimmed any. And I don't think they do. I think they look like they will fit. So I'm going to go ahead and put my glue on. Attach it to the top one here. So it goes right along, the fold goes along the top edge. And we make sure we're fitting straight right on top of that page. Burnish. Lift up and burnish in there. And then this bottom one's going to line up on the bottom, and they completely overlap each other. And it'll be the top one that comes down over the bottom one once we get it attached. But let's line it up this way. Like that. It's lining up. Okay, and burnish. So there's our flap like that. Now we have the page hinge here. We have the pocket on the inside. We have the flap with these flaps on it. This one goes over. Then we turn it so that our hinge is to the right. And now we can attach our closures. Those are we're going to put the long one at the top. We're going to center it. And what goes under these will be the patterned paper waterfalls. So just put that fold along the top edge. Make sure it stays on straight. And this one goes on the bottom. You just want to make sure we're lining them up. So the fold goes along the bottom and these line up. Okay, burnish. And we'll have a magnet closure that holds them down. You can put either one that you want underneath or over, however you want to do it when you decorate it. So that's the pages. This is page 3. So our next step is our patterned paper. I am going to wait on putting these into the book until we have our patterned paper, because I want to put patterned paper under the hinges. So these will attach into this first spine here, which will give you all of this area to add patterned paper. We may add some pockets in there. So these will attach over here, and then the whole book will fold up. So that's where we're at. I'm ready to get the patterned paper and cut those all out and come back and show you adding patterned paper for the pocket sections and finishing those up, and finishing up on this album, just getting all the pretty patterned papers in, adding a tie closure and different things. So that's where we're at. We're ready for the patterned paper. Okay, so now we're ready for the matting and patterned paper for the cover. I've already done it. I'm going to quickly go over it with you to show you what I've done. Now, what happened is I recorded this, and I guess my battery went down on my wireless microphone, and I didn't realize it. So I am doing a voiceover for what I am watching on my video clips. So here on the cover, I decided to do the inside all with the blue stars. You can use whatever paper you want and measure the inside. I only did one layer of paper. I did patterned paper all the way across, and I cut each one 1/8 of an inch shorter in the width and 1/8 of an inch shorter in the height. Now, I am not going to give you the measurements for all these. It would just take too much time. I just want to quickly show you what I've done. So I did all of it here. So if you measure your sections, you're going to want to see how wide your sections are, and then cut the width of your pattern paper accordingly. So like I said, I did 1/8 of an inch smaller in height and width. So that's what I did on mine. The outside of my album cover, I decided to use the navy blue summer check for the spines and the back. So for now, I'm just putting the one layer on. And again, all of these are 1/8 of an inch shorter in height and width. And you just, again, measure your sections. That's what I'm doing here, is measuring the height and the width. Now on the front, I put triple layers. The back and the side, I'm going to add more later on. I'm not going to do that right now. For now, I've just got it patterned so that I have this particular piece on, and that I don't use it, cut it up and use it somewhere on the inside. I want to make sure I have this, and then I will decide what I want to do for the rest of the sections. So the front is done pretty much the way I want it. I did this orange plaid here on the inside here, and you can see a little bit of it extending. And then I did the navy check. I did a solid orange, and then I did this little plaid alien ship image there. And again, I'm showing you, you measure the height and the width of each section to pattern, cut your pattern paper. Okay, so for the patterned paper for page 1, the first one you want to do, I've already done the other sections, but for your pocket, cut it 1/8 of an inch, if that's the width, the margin that you're wanting to use, shorter on the width, and then cut it so that if you, whatever notch you used in your pocket, you want to cut it long enough that when you fold up your pocket, you can see the patterned paper in your notch. So I've added mine, and make sure that you notch your pattern paper if you did that to match up. So I cut mine 1/8 of an inch shorter in width and height for the pocket, and then I took my punch and matched it up and notched the pattern paper. So I have all this on, I've already got it attached, and once you have your background paper on, you're going to want to go ahead and glue down your sides of your pocket. So I take the glue and add glue to both 1/2 inch hinges now. And I'm just going to show you doing this on this one pocket. You're going to do the other two exactly the same. You put your pattern paper on the background of the pocket, make sure it's long enough that you go all the way down through the notch, and then you seal up the sides to finish up the pocket on all 3 page sets. I'm just going to show you doing page set 1 because you do it all the same. And you choose your pattern papers that you want to use. So let that dry, and then we have that ready. So the rest of this, I'm going to be adding my pattern paper off camera. This particular flap here, I do want a magnet. So let me go ahead and show you doing that. So I have one magnet set of the tonic magnets, and I'm going to glue one to the top flap on the underside. And because the flap does not go a long ways over the second flap, I'm going to put the second magnet on the back of the page underneath the bottom flap. So you'll see that in just a minute. I'm going to put some glue on the second magnet and fold it down, fold the flap down so that it attaches to the inside of the page. Now I need to put some glue down again and then put the glue side of the magnet down and add tape to keep it secure so that I can go ahead and plan my pattern paper. So you go through your album and make sure you add magnets before you add any patterned paper to any of those sections that you want to keep. This is the one I'm going to use on this one, so now I'm going to go ahead and add my patterned paper to the rest of page 1. I've been working on these pages. I realized that I should have added a give space with my lay flat hinge. So we're going to add this as an afterthought. I want you to do this on all 3 of your pages. Excuse me. You're going to add these on, and it will just make your pages lay down a little flatter. I've already done this one. You can see here I've added the extra. So now I have a 1/4 inch give space here on this little side of where the hinge is at. So I'm going to show you. It's real easy to fix. I'm going to show you how to do that now. So cut 3 strips of the cardstock, the artisan cardstock. You need 3 that are 1/2 inch by 7.5 inches long. So this one's already done. So take your other pages. You see, open it up. You see your 1/2 inch hinge here on the side. And I am scoring mine with my trimmer. So use your scoreboard or make sure you're using a scoring blade like I am. So I'm adding a 1/4 inch score line there on the original hinge. And I'm folding it back and forth. So that adds my give space there. But I still need a 1/2 inch hinge to attach into the book. So once I have this one scored in half, so we have 2/4 inches on the original hinge that's attached already part of the page. So I'm just folding it back and forth to make sure it folds good. Then I'm going to take an extra 1/2 inch wide strip, and I'm just going to put glue on the outer 1/4 inch space of the hinge that's already on the book, on the page. Then glue this 1/2 inch to that one up to the score line. So that will give me a full 1/2 inch hinge to attach into the book. And I will still have the 1/4 inch give space. So I hope this isn't confusing, but this will work much better for your pages than what I originally planned at the first. So this is a design change that I want you to do right now before you add your pages into your book. So if you'll do that, go ahead and do that on the third one. I've already got the first one, page 1 done. Now I have page 2 done, and I'm going to do the exact same thing for page 3. We'll want magnets for each of these little flaps here on page 2. Now, I had already added my pattern paper here on this one section before I thought about the magnets. So what I did is instead use just 2 magnets between the flaps. So I used 2 sets, one on the back of each flap so that it will catch it. Now it works okay, but if you want it to be really secure, go ahead and use 4 sets, a set for each little flap. But what I'm doing is just adding a magnet to the back of the flap here on the front, taping it down, and then I will flip it over and put the magnet on the back of the flap on the opposite side, or on the page rather. no, I'm going to, I'm confusing myself. I'm going to put my tape down. I'm going to attach it to the flap. So I have a magnet on each inside of each flap, and so they go through the page to attach down. It works okay. It kind of flips open when I turn the pages sometimes, but that's why I'm saying if you want it to be really secure, use a set for each one versus what I'm doing. So this is what I'm showing you right here is you probably would want one on each side, but because I'd already put my pattern paper down before adding the magnet, I'm doing mine a little bit different. So go ahead and put yours on the way it should be. Page 3, we will add magnets to the closures here for where the waterfalls go. So I've already added my pattern paper except for where the magnets are going to attach. So I need a magnet on the back of the longest flap, which is the top one. And then I need a magnet for the bottom one on the front, the short one. So I just need one magnet set. I'm looking for my magnets because I thought I had it laying there, but I probably covered it up with something. So I'm going to grab one more magnet set and I'm going to show you how to put those on. Now later I decide on the other side of my page 3 over the long flaps. You don't have to, but I did, after I did my pattern paper, I added a ribbon tie closure with the seam binding ribbon. You will see that in the walkthrough. If I don't show you here in the tutorial, it's just really easy. I added it onto the other side of page 3 and covered the ends of the ribbon with some stickers. So here I'm putting my magnet down. I'm going to tape it down. This is on the back side of the top flap. And then I'm going to put tape for my second magnet, and I'm going to attach that to the front side of the short flap on the bottom. Now we haven't added the waterfall flaps in yet. We will do that later. I will show you how to do that. But for now, I'm just getting the magnets positioned and lining up my closure pieces. And once I have that done, then I can go ahead and add the patterned paper. The waterfall flaps on the back of page 3 are all made out of patterned paper, and I'm just looking at my patterns to see if any are directional, because you want to make sure this is an upside down waterfall, so all the 1/2-inch hinges attach down to the bottom of the page. So when you flip your flap down, you want to make sure that the direction of your patterned paper is not upside down when you see it on the opposite side. So that's what I'm looking at right now to see how they're going to flip down. And I cut 6 of these. They're all 3 1/4 inches wide to fit on the back of page 3. And they're out of scraps, so yours can be different lengths. I have a 4 3/4 inch long one, a 5 1/2, a 6 inch, a 4 1/2, a 4 inch, and a 5 inch one. So yours can be different lengths or heights if you want. And then of course they're all scored at a 1/2 inch. So take all of your scraps that you've cut 3 1/4 wide and make sure that you score it so that the direction looks correct from the bottom of the page. So I'm going to go ahead and score all these at a 1/2 inch right here on the bottom edge of each one. So just put the longest side in and score at a 1/2 inch for each waterfall, and fold and burnish those up. Once you have all your flaps, waterfall flaps scored, you can put your scoreboard away, and then take your page 3 and open up the closures, and we're going to build up the waterfall starting at the bottom. So pick your first one that you want to show on the front and attach it centered on the page right here at the bottom. So I'm deciding which direction I want mine to go. I want the suns to be on the front, the yellow. So take your glue and just put glue on that 1/2 inch tab there and attach the first one down at the bottom, centered, side to side. Burnish it, fold it down, and burnish the little 1/2 inch on the inside. Then take the next one and glue the 1/2 inch fold line up against the straight edge of the one you just put down. So they're all cut the same width at 3 1/4, so you should be able to just line them all up and keep on adding your waterfalls, each one butted up to the next one. And make sure you're putting your patterns, directional patterns, where it looks correct when you flip it down. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep gluing these all into the album. Okay, so now we have all the waterfalls in. I'm just flipping them up, giving it a little extra burnish if needed on the folds, seeing how it looks with that. Close down, the magnet holds it all down. And then you can put a little decorative piece there if you want to finish it up. So that's the waterfalls all attached in. It's a real fun way in a different kind of album that you want to be real fun to put it on upside down, on what I call an upside down waterfall. So that is page 3. So now we're going to put these into our album. Next, I'll show you how to add the pages into your book. Okay, so we're ready to put the 3 pages into the album cover. Make sure that you're on the first spine. Make sure your front cover is on the left here. And you look at your hinges here. You're going to glue just the 1/2 inch into the spine section. So I'm folding my hinge so that I can see my 1/4 inch and just the 1/2 inch here on the back side, and put your glue on that 1/2 inch. And I'm starting with page 3. So I'm going to put page 3 down first to the far right side of this first spine. So you see my 1/4 inch there. So you take this and you're going to, here in this first small spine section, place your page about a 1/4 inch from the top and a 1/4 inch from the bottom, and about a 1/4 of an inch from the fold of the spine. So I'm just lining it up. I'm going to turn it back, and I'm going to burnish this page, the hinge where the glue is, and get that touched down really well. Just give it a good burnish, making sure that it's straight and everything. Then I'm going to take page 2, and again I'm going to fold so that I just see the 1/2 inch here, and I'm just going to actually, this is page 1. I'm just planning my spacing. So I have page 3 already glued in, and I have a 1/4 inch there. So I'm looking to make sure that I will have a 1/4 inch for the first page. So making sure everything's turned the right direction. You got your pocket on the front for page 1, and I'm going to go ahead and glue page 1 in next. So just on that 1/2 inch hinge, with it folded to the back side of page 1, I'm going to put my glue on. And now I'm going to lay this into the book 1/4 inch from the left fold on the spine, line up my pages top and bottom, and then burnish that in. Now once we get this in the book, then you will also cut strips of paper to cover each spine's strip or hinge to finish everything off. So I'm burnishing it in really well, make sure it's lined up, and then I'm going to take page 2 and put it between these two. So fold the hinge towards the back side of page 2. I'm going to put my glue on that 1/2 inch back side. And I'm going to line this up, line my pages up top to bottom, and line it up here in between the two. There we go. Make sure they're straight. And give them a burnish. So this gives us a wider space between the two the pages here on the inside. We have a 1/4 inch from the cover, but that gives us a nice area there where we can, our flaps and everything have a lot of room. So I'm just double checking, making sure everything's where I want it. And everything is lining up and folding, so that give space does make them lay down a little bit better. I'm just repositioning this one just a little bit. It needed straightened up a little bit, I felt. So if you have to with the glue, you can move them really quick. And if you have an extra gap showing, I need to add some more glue. Kind of dried up on me. If there is a gap showing between, because you want to keep your pages straight, it's okay. You're going to be adding patterned paper, so don't worry about that. That will work out just fine. So just make sure that they are lined up where you want them to be. So I wanted it moved over just a little bit. I had it too far away, so it overlapped just a little bit on the other one, and so that works out a lot better. Okay, so I'm going to burnish it in. And as I said, I will cut strips of pattern paper out of scraps, the height of the pages, and finish that section off in there. Okay, so there is the pages. Got lots of room in there because we'll be adding some stuff in there. And then we'll be finishing up our cover and getting all this, the album done. Okay, off camera, I did take scraps of my orange checked pattern paper, and I cut it to fit in between the spine. Just measure what you need on yours. Yours may be a little bit different, and cut it the height of the pages. So you need 2 to go between pages 1 and 2 and between pages 2 and 3. So you don't need any on the front sides here, but just between the 2 page sets. So now everything is glued in and we're ready to finish decorating, which I'm going to be doing off camera here on the inside. And then I will show you how I'm going to decorate. I will show you decorating the cover. So I have the album finished on the inside, and I did matte the back with the light blue solid from the collection, and then this red with dot on the back. And on the sides, I used the more orange-red color for the matting, and then this paper here with the words. And then I took the 2 stickers of the little larger dinosaur-looking aliens, and I glued this one to yellow and fussy cut around it, and glued this one to the red cardstock and fussy cut around them. Then just glued them to the bottom just to decorate the little spines. And so now I'm ready to add my ribbon tie closure and what I'm going to put on the front. So I have cut about, let's see, it's 12, 24, 36, about 38 inches, and I dovetail the ends. And I'm going to take this and wrap it around my cover. Pull it around where I want it. And I'm going to go ahead and tie a bow on it for now to see where I want to put my placement. Let's see. Okay, I think on the back, I'm going to go ahead and flip it over. And I'm going to place about centered. So this is 8. So at 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, approximately, I'm going to put tape in the center of the back like that to help secure that. but I am going to have a piece over that as well. Okay, so we've got that. This is adding the closure. You don't need the ribbon. I just like the looks of it. You don't have to have it if you don't want it because it does hold with the magnet. But I'm going to lift that up. And then I'm going to center this. Try to center it best I can. There. Okay, place that down. The ribbon straight across. Okay, let's see how it looks, because before you attach anything, you can see if you need to make any adjustments by lifting it up off that score tape. So this, I'm going to kind of tie it to the side here. Let's see here. Okay, so I need to move it, I think, more the other way. A little longer on the other side here. Just a guess. Keep playing with it and see. Tie it like this. This one goes under. I may have done it the wrong direction this time. This one too short or not? Let's see here. Okay, that works. So I've got it where I want it on there. So I flip this over. This is attached down. So here on the back, I'm going to glue this little, it says Roar, and then it has the lines where you could, like, you know, put a name, date, whatever you wanted to on there. So I'm going to glue that down over the ribbon. Secure it down even more than the score tape. Sometimes I actually use glue on the ribbon, but this time I'm just going to glue this down. I'm going to center it over it. Like this. I was going to use this somewhere else, so I did cut off the little points on the ends, but that's okay. It's still going to work right there just fine. I changed my mind about where I was going to put it. So you burnish it really well to make sure all the edges are nice and flat like that. And then sometimes I like to take a bit of the branding strip that I've cut off. I'm going to get one as straight as possible that says Blast Off. So I know that's the name of the paper collection that I used. And I like to put that on the bottom. Down here, kind of like a label. Center that. Burnish it down, wipe off any glue. Blast off. Whoops, I'm out of camera. So there's the back. Then we come around here to the side. Now on my, sometimes on these I like to put something over the ribbon here. So I could have put my little guys up there, but I didn't on this. So I think I'm going to leave them loose. And I am going to attach, see. No, I'm probably going to leave it loose. Just take this loose. Now what I made was a little booklet with the Blast Off card here, and I used the solid cardstock that comes with the collection, the Blast Off solids, and the 3x4 cards to make this little booklet. So photos can go here on the back side, opposite of each one. So this is from an ephemera piece, from a frame. And I will show you how to make this. I've already made this because I wanted to see how I liked it. And I'm like, well, yeah, I like that. I think I'll do that for this little book on the front cover. Now, I'm not holding it closed with any magnets because it ties with this. So I'm going to position it to see where I want it tied before I glue it on. And then I will show you how to make another one. Okay, so I think that's about right, about there, just below that little antenna thing. So I put glue on the entire back of this little mini photo album. And then I'm going to kind of do it at an angle like this. about right there. Okay, lift this up and burnish the last page in here. So that's going to be opening up like that in the book, and then this will open here like that, and then this ties around. Just like that. So I'm keeping the decoration on my little album here on the front. Pretty simple. The ribbon there, you can still see the little rocket ship and all the aliens, and it says blast off down there. I like that. I think that's really, really cute. And so then the ribbon is loose on the sides, so you can kind of push it around a little bit to cover what you want. So that's the album. So let me show you this one real quick. And the inside of the album you will see in the walkthrough video, which will be separate from this tutorial video. You're going to decorate yours up the way you want to. Just add all kinds of the different ephemera pieces and the ribbons and things. So I will show you that in a bit, in a different video, not in a bit, but in a different video that I will have on my channel. So for this, I cut one of this checkers piece. This is 3. You get 1, 2, 3, but I had another one. Hang on, guys. I need one more. There it is. It's stuck in there. 4 of these. So 3 solids. I did blue, yellow, and the kind of orangey red, and 1 checkered. So 3 of these, and you're going to cut these to 3 5/8 by 4 1/4. Then you're going to put it in your scoreboard on the 3 5/8 side and score at 1/4 inch, so that the finished size should be about 3 3/8. So I think each of these are the same. So you score the shorter end at 1/4 inch. Okay. Then we have a bigger piece of this check that is 3 3/8 by 4 1/4. That's going to be the back piece. So what I do is with the score line folded down, I put glue on that 1/4 inch, stack it to the next one that I want, line up the folds to the folds, making sure that we're lined up on all the corners and sides, and burnish that really well. So that's the front and the second page. Then I fold it back, put glue on the next one. They're not going to be perfect because just with the way of scoring and stuff, but they're close enough. If you want to trim them after you get them put together, well, you can do that. So I'll line these up. Make sure these fold lines line up. So see, that one's a little longer, so I may trim that when I get it all together. Okay, or you can leave the cover a little bit bigger. So glue on each 1/4 inch, and then stack the finished edge to this hinge, the 1/4 inch hinge. And then the last one you've added on here, you still have a little hinge, and that's what attaches to the background. And I did mine this way. You can do whichever way you want. I put the checkered on the outside, and that's what I glued to the album. And then this like together. Okay, just like that, and burnish it down. So now you have this little photo book. It's a great way to use up some of your scraps. I've got some glue on this one I want to clean off. There we go. Okay, so there's the little booklet. So like you see, this one's a little bit wider, but I'm okay with that. I'm going to leave it like that. For this one, I want to keep your head in the clouds on the front. Make it just a little different from the one I put on the album. And this would just be an extra little gift. You could use it like a card if you wanted to send it in as a card, or Probably would fit in an envelope. Might need some extra postage, but I'm going to tilt this at a little angle like that. And then you open it up, and I'm going to put this color here. Look up at the stars, not down at your feet. And I put these in straight. Okay, centered top to bottom. And I'm going to put this one on the yellow. Yeah. Blast off. This is the second one. I was able to cut my paper so that I could have an extra blast off. Okay, one right here. And then the last one. Did I do them right? Red, green, blue. Yep. So the red goes on this one. Clean this glue up off of this. There are whole worlds just waiting to be discovered. Okay, and this one glues here. And then we have this last one here, and then I'll look in here. I have almost used up all of the ephemera pieces inside the book. Dream a little bigger, dear. And this one's a little frame like this. I think I'll do that. Just going to punch that out. I'm going to put the little frame like that on 3 sides. I could have put a mat on the underneath, but I'm just going to leave it the navy blue because if you put a picture in it, you don't need that. Anyway, so it's open on the top, or you could just cut a picture that exact size, and then I'm going to glue this one down like this so you can journal on it. Okay, like that. Just like that. And I don't know if I have anything left of stickers much that could go on there. Got a little lightning bolt. Just put that right there to add some color. So that's how you make the little booklet that I used on the front. So this is just an extra little photo book that you could give to someone if you wanted to. Add some more of the little ephemera bits to the back that you might have left. Like I have this one that says Future Scientist. I can just tuck it on the back. You could also tie a little bit of twine around it if you wanted to close it off. Like this. So I could have used that Future Scientist to hold that on there, but I'm just going to snip some off and tie it, just to show you how if you're going to make some extras with your scraps and stuff, how you could make little booklets with it, little brag books if you wanted to. And I'm just going to tie a knot in the end. Like that, and snip that off so that when it ravels, it won't go past the knot. Okay, so that holds that on. And like I said, here you could add something like, I have a sticker here that's an extra sticker. I could just line it up straight, like I got some constellation stars sticker right there to hold that down and so you don't lose your string. And that's a little bonus brag book to go with our album. So thank you so much for following along with this tutorial. If you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments of the video. I'd be happy to answer your questions. Please leave comments. Let me know what you think about this style of album and what you think about the paper collection. I think it's just adorable. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so. And be sure and click the bell so that you get notification of when my videos are uploaded, so that way you get notification immediately as soon as I upload something. And as always, shop at countrycraftcreations.com for your paper crafting supplies. Check the links down below to my affiliate links for the products used in this project, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.